Welcome everybody to Tarot Journeys with Guy. How's everybody doing? Today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the state of the world and do a little update on what's going on with things in the world. We've got all sorts of stuff on deck. What's interesting right now in Canada is we've got more fires. Wow, big surprise there. And it's just one thing after another, especially with the climate agenda. To me, it's pretty obvious that they're starting these fires, but it's also due to negligence. And that's also what's coming to the surface, is how these DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion policies have placed these incompetent people into positions that they shouldn't be in, and it's affecting people's lives on a very huge level. It's also part of the agenda to place these people there, right? That's part of it. And then we've got the indictments, the Trump indictment, and more importantly, more evidence on the Biden situation and what's coming out with him and aliases, and he's just everything is coming to the surface, and that's the big part of it right now, is for us to really pay attention, because it's like a disclosure period where so much is coming to the surface on both sides, and they keep throwing smoke in one direction to cover up for something that's going over here. They're preparing, I think, like what's happening is the deep state, these guys, the bad actors, they're losing big time, and they're getting prepared. It's like the readout of World War II in a way. They're looking for an out. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on in the world, especially in the next couple of weeks, the week coming up. What do we have to expect? What's going to happen? What are we going to see? Let's just take a look and then we'll get into it. Okay. Oh man, that's hilarious. Okay, so interesting, right? I was just talking about briefly about the indictments, and that's kind of what this is really about. It's like this last indictment, this fourth one, it's funny, I think it was last week or a week before. I think it was last week. Trump at a rally. Yeah, I guess it was last week, because it was right after the indictment was called in Georgia. And Trump at a rally said, "Oh, I guess I need one more, and it's assured that I'm going to win." And it's interesting because this is exactly the type how he plays it, right? Because it looks like this indictment really is one of the ones that's really going to backfire on these bad actors. It's going to really backfire on these people. This is really just about exposing these guys, right? And it's so funny. They keep playing out the same game plan, but they keep falling into the same kind of trap. And the Trump team, they know this, and they're playing it. And this is why they say President Trump plays 5D chess, or his team. And it definitely appears that way. See, another big thing is them being sort of like the neocons and the Dems in the States being called out for promoting war, creating more war. And this is the Knight of Swords, right? So there's a couple of different fronts, and then there's more Hunter Biden stuff that comes out. Okay, that this is really what these indictments are really about, is because as more of the Hunter Biden and the Joe Biden stuff, and they get sort of caught in their crime schemes and everything, that it's just more justification to kind of go after them legally, and that's kind of what is needed, right? And so what we're gonna witness is see, it's already starting to happen. That's why there'll be an event. There'll be an event in the world. There's something that'll happen, and then everything will just kind of like calm down for a period of time. And it will seem like there's nothing going on. And then something will happen. Well, that's because everything has been under the guise of a narrative for so long, and that narrative is being broken up. The intelligence community has had such a hand in influencing people and within media. And when you start taking that out of the picture, that's when like it's like there's a vacuum. And that's kind of what we're going to see is like these people, like they're going to be caught more and more. So it's just like, yeah, it's like little bits at a time. Their apparatus is being sort of dismantled, the deep state, these bad actors and how they're operating, right? And so, but simultaneously, there's something that's going to happen. The war thing is going to be ramped up. There is something going on with China. China is having a lot of issues right now, like as far as their economy, this thing with the flooding there. And I'm not going to speculate on what actually, like, you know, it's just how that place works, right? It's a flood in China represents like a major change of heaven and earth, like going back into the old mythologies and legends and stuff. And so for leaders, and especially like when you have this authoritarian, totalitarian situation where the state and the leader are in charge of everything and can be blamed for everything, this, like the flooding represents like a major change in leadership. And so, and that's also why there's this call to war. They're getting ready to war. Like the Chinese economy is falling apart. Same with ours. The whole apparatus, this whole deep state apparatus relied on China sort of taking over the reins, I guess. And that's not happening, and it's not going to happen. We're going to see some of that. There's a little bit more of that's going to come out. And then there's this thing with the economy. So we've got like the economy, this false war situation, and the law, and like how the deep state is misusing the law. And this isn't just in the United States. This is all over the world, right? And it's like it's really starting to become apparent. Like there's one law for them and one law for us. That kind of idea, right? That's coming more and more present to people, and that's kind of what we need, right? But yet, yeah, like in this week, we're going to see, yeah, dire like economic situation sort of looming in sort of what's being projected, especially, okay? And this idea that there's potentially like the next war footing, the next war situation, right? And that all of those things are just, they're flimsy now that it's hard for people to sort of accept what's being sort of projected onto them. They don't trust this. People don't trust anymore. So it's really hard. That's really backfired on them. They didn't gain the people's trust in wrecking, you know, in attempting to subvert people's trust within the system and the rule of law and things like that. They didn't gain their trust. And they realize this now. This is kind of why they're in retreat. Okay, that's what this is. It's like they're fighting a rear guard situation where they're in retreat and they're being hunted down on many levels. And so economically in the courts, and definitely from a military standpoint too, right? That's also what's underneath the scenes of this. Yeah. Okay, let's see what else. That's interesting. Jeez. Yeah, this thing with the fires, that's something also. The climate agenda, that's another one that they have this capability of creating this situation of this stuff, like whether it's earthquakes, hurricanes, fires are easy. You don't need directed energy weapons to start wildfires. A lot of it, especially in Canada, is incompetence. Is built in incompetence. It's on purpose. They knew this would happen, especially in Canada, where there is a long history of resource management and conservation and top level research done on a scientific level for decades and decades. And you're telling me that they didn't know that by enforcing some of the policies that they have around managing wild areas, grasslands, forests, these kind of areas, especially near habited areas, as if they didn't know that these policies were going to create these situations, because it's part of an agenda. These people were placed there. And that's the thing that people have to understand and slowly starting to kind of get it. Okay, so let's see what else. What else do we need to know? What else is coming up? What else are they going to pull? What else are they going to do? What else can we expect? So it's so funny when Trump says he has all the evidence. I think he does. I think that's part of it. I think we're going to start to see, because we're ramping up. We're getting ready, man, and the gloves are off, and so his team is getting ready to start firing, and it is almost like they're waiting for a couple of other things. That might be one more indictment, that kind of thing. There might be two. I'm not sure. Haven't fully been following it, like fully, just kind of keeping my ears to the ground. I mean, that's also where we're kind of moving. We're all being sort of thrust into this cycle that the United States has been in. And I think that's part of like breaking that chain. I mean, we kind of have to look to the United States, especially as a beacon for freedom in some ways. And that's I think a big key. Yeah. And you know what also, there are actually a lot of people are talking, and I'm not talking like conspiracy people, like normies, talking about how, because, okay, so like this latest thing with him and with Joe Biden, okay? I'm talking about Joe Biden, with this new alias that has come out when it, like, as part of like this whistleblower around Burisma and Ukraine and things. But it's also brought up on the internet how Joe Biden before 2017 or so is a different Joe Biden than what we see now. And there's so much like facial structural proof. Like, it's just so obvious. And that is something like, that's going to haunt him. That's actually you're going to hear a lot about this week. Something that's a little bit more verifiable. Like, now, I don't know if we'll ever fully know. That's like another thing, but something is going to come up with this guy, the replacement Joe Biden. Okay. And that there's going to be some more evidence about what actually happened or something. That's not going to go away. They're going to try to deflect it. Maybe they're also like, yeah, there's something there, something that's going to come up, right? But it's also this thing of phony leadership, little steps towards sort of getting people to understand how these people have been placed and what their effect is, like what they're actually doing. That's kind of I guess a big part of it. Yeah. And something else, some other, maybe there's like another film like Sound of Freedom or something that's set to come out, or something on the horizon that is also there to highlight situation with children. Okay. Because that's a big thing. All of those, like, I mean, that's a huge deal, I think, like as far as like a movie goes, but all of those projects, all of those things help in bringing awareness. And I think that's something else is going to come to the forefront of exposing this, so that it helps, right? Like, hey, goodness, that, and you know, things like that, that's important to see. So, and like I was kind of saying this in other readings, like we're going to get hit with a bunch of sort of like, there's negative things, and then there's some really mega positive things that, especially for us that are awake, and we have to kind of pay attention to, and we have to kind of like stay on the level with, like, that's, in a way, it's for us, right? We're to keep resilient and to keep going, right? That's another big deal. Oh man, you know what I also didn't really mention too is the UFO thing. That was kind of the chariot for me too, is like a little bit like more of this UFO false flag thing might come up, or might actually come out how much this guy, this latest guy, is a phony, right? Because they're trying to pull all punches. I mean, one thing a lot of people talk about is them starting a war, the deep state, them launching a nuclear weapon somewhere, right? Here, let's ask if that's going to happen. Let's ask if they're going to actually start a war, if they're going to actually get away with launching some kind of large weapon like that. I mean, they already did the bioweapons thing. They might do another one. Let's see. Yeah, man, a lot of gossip, a lot of smoke, a lot of disinformation around that's put out there. I mean, right now, that's totally what they're putting out there, gearing up for another war, right? I don't think they need to. I think they have the people that are controlling technology and social media and stuff. They really believe that they have such a firm grip on people's perceptions that they don't need that. It's in their plan, though. It's definitely in their plan. Yeah, okay, here we go. This is a good one. Yeah, their capabilities partly have been taken away. One of the things that they still don't have full control of is parts of the military, and especially around space and information technology and like this directed energy weapon stuff. But like the nuclear arsenal and things like this are kind of secured, I guess, or they're not able to. They just a lot of it's been taken apart. Yeah, a lot of it's been dismantled. That's why we're seeing sort of low tech sabotage, like with blowing up the train lines and processing plants and the fires and things, because all of that can be done with people on the ground, like very simply, right? And that's part of it. I'm not to say that some of these things, I mean, definitely they're using the technology. And I really do think that that's kind of one of their final battles is the space tech, the weather manipulation tech, because they're doing stuff. I mean, the weather is strange. The weather is very strange here. It went from 30, 33, 35 Celsius plus, and this morning was plus 5 Celsius, which is a 30-degree temperature drop. So, and that could happen naturally here in where I'm from, because the weather's so extreme. But there's been so much manipulation and so much done, right? And so yeah, and that's a big part of it. We have to kind of just be patient and wait and see that, and that's kind of this thing of like, we as the people and can only be sort of active within our sphere and our field, right? It's really important to be online, shifting this information. We're getting ready for this next phase, right? And it is important for people to be present, because that is what's bringing truth to the foreground and what is really bringing attention to these bad actors. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed. Please hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell, leave a comment, share and like the video. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.